Paul Sinha has always been a reassuring presence on British television, known for his razor-sharp intelligence, dry humor, and calm authority. He has built a relationship with viewers that feels almost personal. Night after night, fans welcomed him into their homes, trusting him to challenge contestants, spark laughter, and bring a sense of familiarity that only years of shared viewing can create. That's why this moment felt different from the very start. There was a subtle shift in tone, something gentler, more reflective. The usual rhythm of the show slowed, as if time itself was giving space for what was about to unfold. When Paul began to speak, his words were measured, careful, and filled with gratitude. It wasn't framed as an announcement, it was a goodbye, spoken with dignity, warmth, and unmistakable emotion. As he addressed the viewers, his voice wavered just enough to be noticed. He thanked his colleagues, the crew behind the scenes, and most of all, the audience who had supported him throughout his journey. Each sentence felt heavy with meaning, like a chapter closing in a book many weren't ready to finish. Across living rooms nationwide, tears began to fall. Social media lit up within minutes. "I didn't expect this," one viewer wrote. "I'm crying and I don't even know why," another confessed. For many, the emotion came from surprise, but for others, it came from recognition. They understood what it means to say goodbye to something that has been part of your routine, your comfort, your sense of normal. Paul's strength has always been in his composure. He never sought attention through grand gestures or emotional displays. So when he paused, took a breath, and allowed the moment to be felt, it hit harder than any dramatic speech ever could. His co-stars were visibly moved. Some smiled through tears, others struggled to meet his eyes. It was clear this wasn't just a television moment, it was a shared experience between people who had worked closely together, weathered pressures, and built something meaningful over time. Fans later pointed out how telling the silence was. There was no rush to fill it, no music swelling to cue emotion, just a stillness that allowed viewers to sit with their feelings. In an age of fast-paced content and constant noise, that quiet felt almost sacred. For years, Paul Sinha has represented resilience and intellect, effortlessly balancing seriousness with wit. He made learning entertaining, competition respectful, and success feel earned. Watching him say goodbye wasn't just about losing a familiar face, it was about acknowledging how much he had given without ever demanding more in return. As the segment ended, messages of gratitude poured in from all corners of the country. Fans shared stories of watching with parents, partners, and children. Some spoke of how Paul inspired them to love knowledge, to value curiosity, or simply to enjoy the comfort of a show that felt like home. "This show got me through some hard times," one viewer wrote. "Paul was always there, even when things weren't easy," said another. What made the goodbye especially powerful was its openness. Paul didn't explain everything. He didn't need to. His words were enough. They carried respect for the audience, trusting them to understand without being told every detail. That trust deepened the bond he had built over the years. In the days that followed, clips of the moment were replayed again and again. Each time, viewers noticed something new. The way Paul's eyes lingered, the faint smile that followed his final words, the applause that felt less like celebration and more like a collective thank you. Industry voices later described it as one of ITV's most genuine farewells in recent memory, not because it was sad, but because it was honest. It acknowledged change without fear and allowed emotion without exaggeration. For fans, the goodbye marked more than an ending. It became a reminder of why television still matters, not for spectacle, but for connection, for shared moments that unite strangers across the country in the same feeling at the same time. Paul Sinha walked away with grace, leaving behind laughter, respect, and a legacy that will continue long after the lights dim. And while viewers may not have been ready, they were grateful to have witnessed it, to have felt it, and to have been part of a moment that will be remembered not for what was lost, but for what was shared. Sometimes the most powerful goodbyes aren't shouted, they're felt. And this one left ITV fans crying together.